No. Mm-mm.
Hey, Monica.
Hey, sweetie, am I under Monica?
I just saw you under Monique, but a few
I
minutes.
see that.
But
That's okay.
it's all right. I'm glad to see you're beautiful. I see you actually in both, in Monica
I
and
know. I don't know why that is, but
the legendary Monica May. Yay! All right, I'm gonna mute you. Give you people about 1 more minute.
okay.
Okay, I unmuted myself. Now I'm trying to start my video. Oh, perfect. Can you guys see me? Let's see. I can see the chat. Let me sit back a little so you guys can see me. All right, admit. What's this? Chat on the 6th. Yes, we can see you. Perfect, perfect. All right, hope I should be able to get more people in. So I'm going to get started now. Hi, everybody. Thank you again so much for joining my class, podcasting class. So many of you all will usually ask me along the way about podcasting. So I just decided, you know what, let me just make a class out of it and educate many of you all at the same time about what is a podcast and my journey with it. So the Focal Spot presents So You Want a Podcast, a series where we're going to discuss the beginnings of podcasting, how to prepare and promote your podcast, and my 11-year experience as a podcaster. Yes, I've been doing it for 11 years. I may have called it an online radio show, but in reality, it was a podcast. But we used to promote it as an online radio show. All right. So again, if you can just write the hashtag the focal spot. I encourage you all to use this hashtag on your social medias and tag me. So if anything that resonated with you, just go ahead and promote it. And also, my website is www.linktr.ee. So it's Linktree, but a period between the R and the E / the focal spot, where you'll see my podcast episodes and where you can subscribe on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, various platforms. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to write that down. You can use hashtag the focal spot or at me at the focal spot. Let me see. How can I? I'm just trying to make sure I still can get people. Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out how to move this right here. Got it. Admit. Because when I go to full screen, I can't see who's coming. So let me just do this. Oh. Full screen. There you go. All right, so now part 1, the beginnings of podcasting. So I'm going to take you guys on a history and talk to about how did podcasting start. Some of you guys may have heard of it a long time ago, but it's actually been around for a while. It's one of those sayings that just because you ever heard of it doesn't mean it didn't exist. Podcasting is one of those examples. Hold on. So the podcast creators. It was 2 guys named Adam Curry and a software developer named Dave Weiner. They first spoke of audio blogging. So just in case you guys are not familiar with blogging, blogging is where you type written information and create like your own website. So like Blogspot was one of the popular blogging. So audio is not everybody, might be able to read or access it. So they made it audio blogging. So at that time, it was not called a podcast. They had a meeting in the year 2000. Also, in the 2004, Curry developed a program called iPodder that allowed him to automatically download the internet radio, broadcast to his iPod. So just in case, why is that so significant? This is around the time where in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, Napster came about. So when Napster came about, that's when it allowed files to become digital. So this was just another way, and this is where people downloaded illegal music, but this was a way to have another area outside of terrestrial radio to access information. And you guys don't have to worry about taking notes. I'm going to send you all this information so you don't have to feel like you're in a rush to write notes, so you can take some notes and just fully enjoy the information as well. All right. Now, the person that created the term podcasting, his name is Ben Hemmersley. He suggested the term podcasting back in February 2004 in the Guardian newspaper. So the term podcasting, it comes from the word iPod. So for the people that may not be familiar with the iPod, before the iPhone was an iPod. iPod was an MP3 player, it's about this big, where you could put music from the computer onto this machine to listen to music. This is when we started phasing out of CD players. And a broadcast, as what it says, like how you receive information, a news broadcast, a radio broadcast. So that's how the term podcast came together. So the 2 guys before created audio blogging, but Ben Hemmersley created the term podcast. So now we have the creators of podcasting, and we have the name, the person that created the name of podcasting, but what is it exactly? How can I explain to you all what is podcasting? I made it simple for you. Podcasting is a digital audio file that is made available on the internet for downloading to a computer or a mobile device. Usually available as a series, new installments, aka episodes, of which it can be received by subscribers automatically. Okay? So that is what a podcast is. So you can have audio files, but if it's not uploaded to a platform, it is not a podcast. It is just an audio file. It becomes a podcast when you upload the file into a platform, which I will describe soon. Let me just make sure everybody is in here because I can't see if I have people waiting. 1 second. Chat. Okay, 30 join in. 1 second. More people are joining in and I can't see when my screen is full. All right, did I miss anybody? Nope, I'm going to continue. All right, so now, in order for the podcast listening platforms to receive the new episodes, they go through an RSS feed. RSS feed stands for really simple syndication, okay? So your podcast platform has to have an RSS feed. So the RSS feed acts like a very important middleman. It allows, is used for distributing podcasts and allows users to subscribe to that podcast, to listen to it without going to the website. So for example, I have a website and I uploaded a new episode. When I upload it to the podcast, I don't have to let you guys know that I have a new episode, it will alert you guys once you subscribe. So subscribing is very important because you don't have to remember, oh yeah, did Freddie have a new episode? It's going to pop up on your podcasting listening platform. I'm going to distinguish the two soon. So it will update the subscribers where a new episode is available. So RSS feed is very important. You don't have to create an RSS feed. It already comes with the podcasting platform. So I'm just explaining to you what it is so you can understand how it goes from your computer to the internet to listeners. Now, as I mentioned before about hosting platforms and listening platforms. So the podcast hosting platform is where you upload the audio, where you upload your audio file to the internet. So there's a few of them that are out there. Libsyn was actually one of the first ones, actually the first one that created podcasting. So they've been around since 2004. Blurry has been around since 2006. Blog Talk Radio, been around since 2006. I crossed it out for a reason, and I will explain it soon later. Then we also have Buzzsprout. I wasn't too sure when they were created. And Anchor, which is created in 2016. So in order for it to get to the Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, other listening platforms, you have to have a hosting platform. I'm going to say it again. In order for people to listen to the listening platform to the right, you have to have a hosting platform. You cannot upload your file from your computer or from your phone to Apple. It needs that middleman. So the platform and the RSS feed acts like a middleman. So we'll talk about more of the platforms later, but some of the listening platforms is Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. If you do decide to have a podcast, you have to at least subscribe to 5 of them because Apple is the most popular podcast listening platform. It was the first that created a podcast. So it makes sense why a lot of the users are on Apple, but not everybody has a Mac. So that's why it's also important to not only focus on Apple, but go on Google Play for the Android, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio to expand your listeners. And when we do a one-on-one one day, I'm going to show you how to subscribe to those listening platforms from your hosting platforms. Right? Why is podcasting so popular? It just came out of nowhere. What is this? Why is this so popular? Why is everybody asking me to do a podcast? Like, what is it? I'm going to tell you why. Podcasting is not radio. I know we have some people that's from the radio background, such as myself, such as my mentor, Monica May. It is like radio where people can hear you, but it's not like radio because it's not terrestrial. It's not radio because it's not government regulated. Radios are government regulated. There's certain things that radio people can't say. They have to represent the brand. With podcasting, it does not matter what you say. You will not get fined with what you say. And it's not necessary to purchase a license to broadcast shows. And there's also no Federal Communication Commission's, FCC. There's no decency regulation. So seriously, if you want to talk about some of the crazy stuff, you can. You're not going to get in trouble. Podcasting is also popular because you are in control of what you're listening to, and listeners have a sense with connecting with the host. So it's more so personal. And you can, like, for example, if I want to listen to, people want to listen to my podcast, they want to listen to Joe Rogan's, and want to listen to Trader Joe's, they can pick what they want and add it to their phones or to their computers or wherever they're going to listen to. So this is why podcasting has become popular. And to add on to that, according to Podcast Insights and podcast hosting, there are over 1 million podcasts. Yes, that number is correct. There are over 1 million podcasts with over 28 million episodes. 49% of podcast listening is done at home. So that's almost half of the population. Like, whoever's listening to podcasts, they listen to it at home. 22% of listen to podcasts while driving, so in the vehicle. But also, let's not forget the people that take public trans. They also listen to podcasts too. Podcast listeners listen to an average of 7 different shows per week. Again, the benefits, the privilege of picking what you want. Hey, I might want to listen to Freddie's one day. Let me listen to Monica's the next day. Okay, let me listen to Joe Reagan's. 80% of who listen to all or most of each episode. So most of your episodes are going to be heard. Podcast listening went up 31% from a computer. So that's for the people that work from home or work in an office. They listen to it from the computer. 71% of listeners access your podcast from the smartphone. That's why it is huge. If you are trying to do this either as a hobby or as a business, it is very important to subscribe to the listening platforms that I mentioned before, because 71% of your listeners are coming from there. And once you download the episode, once you download it, like once they upload it and you download it to your phone on the podcast, you can listen to it offline, which is great. Because again, if you are flying a plane or if you are, taking public transit and you hit a point of a dead zone where you don't have reception, you can listen to the podcast online. And that's what makes it different from radio or other platforms, because you need internet, you need reception. For podcasting, you don't. Part 2, preparing for your podcast. I'm going to exit out of here just to make sure there's been people waiting. I'm going to have Q&A at the end, so I will answer your questions shortly. And let me just check the chat. Let me see. Where's the chat? Right here. Just making sure I got everybody. Blog Talk Radio, incredible thing. Okay, just making sure we're good so far. Good looking gorgeous. Thank you for the compliment, guys. All right, so far so good. So are you guys ready for part 2? You can type yes. All right, we're ready for part 2. So far so good. So that was just a little bit history about podcasting in case you guys were not familiar. So hopefully you guys learned something new about podcasting. Now it's time for the good stuff. The meat, from the meat and potatoes of this. If you're vegan, the alternative version to meat, tofu or what's that word? Jackfruit. This is the main part of your meal. All right. So make sure I will send out the PowerPoint when I am done. So again, if you missed something, that is fine. I will send this out towards the end. All right, the chat is on and popping. All right, omit all. All right, if you're just joining in, we just spoke about the history of podcasting. And now I'm gonna get to how to prepare for your podcast. Make sure there's a few more. Let me see if there's a way I could just let them in without, I don't want a waiting room. Just want people to come in. To name themselves, lock me in. Okay. All right, let's go to part 2 right now. Now you learned a little bit about the history of podcasting. You have the knowledge. All right, cool. Now I want a podcast, but where do I start? This is what part 2 is going to talk about. It's going to talk about preparing your podcast. How do you prepare for a podcast? It sounds so easy, but it's not. Now, I'm going to reiterate this. Podcasting is not something that you do in a day, not something that you do in an hour. It takes time to develop your podcast. As a hobby or as a business, it still takes time. So now I'm going to talk about how you're going to prepare your podcast. For the preparing your podcast, I'm going to talk about equipment, development, audio, and visual recording. Audio podcast equipment. Do not complicate the podcast. I'm going to say it again. Do not complicate the PODCESS. Sorry, I said it right this time. You're like, PODCESS? That's not a word. It is a word I made up. It is a combination of podcast and process. Do not complicate it. Do not complicate the PODCESS. Work with what you have and grow from there. You might not have an external mic. Okay, if you have a phone that has a mic, which it has a mic because you talk on it, you can start from there. If you have a laptop with an internal mic built in, you could start from there. Do not let what you don't have hinder you from starting. You already have the tools. It don't have to be perfect yet. Microsoft, many of these big corporations started from the garage, started from the house. So you could start from the beginning. So for the equipment, like I mentioned, you can have a laptop or a computer, and you can have a microphone, an internal mic, like how I'm talking to you all now with my internal mic. Is a built-in mic to the computer, or an external microphone is optional but highly recommended. Again, if you do not have it now, that is okay. We're going through a situation now. So this is probably not a good time to invest if you don't have it. If you do, go ahead. But don't let that be your reason to stop you from starting. And then another way you could do it is through the phone. So depending on the podcast platform, you can actually directly record on there. Or you could use a video memo app. So for example, I'm gonna show you on my phones. For the team iPhone people, actually I think I deleted it by accident, but I can actually record on my phone and then upload it and edit it. So you don't really need anything expensive for now if you just want to start. Do not complicate the process. Now, development. Planning your podcasting. Pre-development. This is probably one of the most important things you have to do. You have to pre-develop. If there's something if something that I took away from interning with, again, my mentor, Monica May, you have to prepare. What you guys hear on air comes with hours of preparation. That's going to be the same mentality of your podcast. So if for anybody that's in multimedia, this is actually a transferable skill, or other arenas where you have to prepare before you present. This is a transferable skill. You have to pre-develop. You have to pre-develop. First, you're going to pick your genre or genres. You can pick more than one. Remember, it's you. It's however you want it to be. It isn't, I focus on celebrity interviews, mental health, and women's health. Some people talk about animal fiction. It depends on what you want. Somebody's going to listen. So the genre, it could be society and culture, business, fiction, health, nutrition, entertainment, or whatever. So once you kind of decide your genre, the next step is, are you going to do this independently or with a team? When I say independently, I'm talking about solo, meaning that you're going to do everything, or are you going to have 2 people, 3 people podcast? And then after that, is this going to be, are you going to do all the work, or are you going to outsource your work? And I talk about outsourcing because, again, or if you're doing this by yourself, I'm going to reiterate again, this is going to take time. Not to deter you, but to be real with you. This is going to take time. Also, determine how many episodes you would like to create for a season. You need to allocate time during your off season to repurpose and reshare your content. This also gives them an idea of what to look forward to for the next season. This helps with promotion. There are some people that have an episode every week. More power to them. Most of us don't have the manpower or the time. So if you allocate at least like 5 episodes for a season and you get done, don't just let it sit there. Use that time to repurpose it, to reshare it. I'll talk more about that later. But during your off season, don't let your past content die. This is the internet. You could repurpose it. Like before, a long time ago, if you missed something live, that's it. But now with cable and internet, we can go back and see things from many years ago. Same thing with your podcast. Also, you're going to need a break to determine your glows and grows. I'm all for seasons. I'm all for breaks. You have to, so you can kind of see like, okay, this went well. I could do better in this. I can try something in this, and I can progress from that. The next step you have to determine is, are you going to have a home or a podcasting studio? Well, clearly, we are in the COVID-19 time, so more than likely you're going to be at home. Planning your podcast. Again, another important part, you have to develop a topic or research the person of interest. You have to research the topic or person. No, it's nothing worse than when you have somebody on your show and you're asking them questions that they can tell you have not researched. Please research the person. If you're doing a topic, for the people that knows about that topic, you do not want to come across as unknowledgeable or just strictly opinionated. You have to have your substance. Research the topic or person that you're going to talk about for your episode. If you have a guest speaker, reach out to them. If I want to interview my friend Income, hey, I would love to interview you about mental health in the graphic design world. Reach out to them. Also, you're going to create questions or talking points by creating an outline with pre-written talking points and questions. You have to do that. There are some people that can do it off the dome. More power to them. I'm not them. When I'm interviewing people, it probably don't even sound like that I'm reading from the screen, but I've gotten to the point where I have the screen there, but I'm still using my conversational voice to ask the questions. You have to do this. Do not skip this step. Even as a hobby or as a business, we can tell, listeners can tell when it's not properly structured. And last but not least, schedule the interview. Also, too, I think I have talked about it here. If you're doing a season and you don't have a guest, you can always do your episodes ahead of time and then schedule a date where you're going to release them. You don't have to, like if I'm interviewing somebody, I don't have to put it up the next day. I can probably have at least 5 people in like a week or 5 episodes in a week, and then I can schedule when I'm going to release the episode for my listeners to listen to. So it's not live. The only time it's live is when we do Instagram Live, and I'll talk about that later. So now, development continued. The next part is to record your podcast. So you developed, I want to talk about this topic. I'm going to have this person. How do I record my podcast? Again, podcast is audio. It's not visual. You can implement visual in it, but it has to have audio to be considered a podcast. So audio recording is mandatory. So for some of the things that you can use is Zoom, like what we're using now. You can schedule a Zoom conference or a Zoom call, and you record it. And the good thing about Zoom is once you're done video recording, it gives you the audio file separately, so you do not have to separate it. So you can use Zoom, you can use Skype, you can use Google Voice. So what Google Voice is an app. I'll show you right here. It's an app where when I make a phone call, it has an option to record the conversation. When it records, and you don't need a special equipment. It's just a regular number that you register with your Gmail. And let's just say my sister Carmen calls me. Okay, I record the conversation. It saves it to the iCloud as an MP3, and I can download it and edit it. So that's another way. Also, you can use an external or internal mic from the computer to record it to Audacity, which we'll talk about later. Audacity, Adobe Audition, and GarageBand. So like if I was to record right now, I would record it to Audacity. That's what I'm using to edit. And it'll record the file and I can edit it accordingly. Like I said, audio is mandatory, visual is optional. So if you are doing visual recording, like I mentioned earlier, you can extract the audio from the video to include it into your podcasting platform. Again, if you're recording somebody and it's not on the podcasting platform, it is not a podcast. It is just a video interview. But if you extract the audio and put it in a podcasting platform and other people can listen to it, it is a podcast. So the ways that you could record is through Zoom and Skype. Once again, you can use Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube Live, or camera equipment. You can use your phone, or you could use other type of cameras. Now, one thing about going live, I want to make sure we got this carefully. The other things that I mentioned that you can pre-record, obviously if you go live, you cannot. So keep in mind that technical mistakes can happen when you do it live. So if you can pre-record, but now notice a lot more people are doing IG Live, and you've seen the technical difficulties. It happens, we're not perfect, but technical difficulties are expected to happen when you're going live. The most important step, record your episode. I know that sounds weird. Like, yeah, of course. No, you have to record your episode. If you just do an audio, it does not record, it cannot be uploaded to a podcast. Record a few episodes at a time so you can upload them accordingly. And also create a title and description for the episode. You want it to be catchy enough so when people research it, it comes up. Like, for example, when I interviewed Tiffany Haddish, I'm not going to say interview with Tiffany Haddish. It's like, okay, I know Tiffany Haddish, but what is this episode about? Tiffany Haddish talks Kevin Hart licking Arsenio's face, which is true. Her foster care experience and how comedy was an escape. So I mentioned a few things that's going to happen in the episode. And then with the description, I would give more details. But the title is key for it to pique listeners and future subscribers' interest to your episode. So you have to create a title and description for the episode. Continuing. So far, so good. Make sure I'm not going so fast. Let me check the chat. Which ones allow? Oh, I'll answer that question later. Okay, so far, so good. We're good so far? Let me just get some yeses. All right, income, yes. All right. Let me make sure. You all look so beautiful, by the way, and handsome for my fellas. Let me just minimize this just to make sure people are. Okay, no more people are waiting. Okay. Somebody was trying to join. Okay. I don't know how I could, more. Mute participants on entry, enable waiting room. Okay. If anybody that has my number, if you notice that people are waiting, just text me so I can let them in. Because I'm not too sure why they're just not coming in on their own. Something I got to work on. So if you have my number, if you see somebody trying to join, just text me so I can let them in. All right, let's get back to program. All right. Editing. Editing your podcast is key. People will watch a bad video, but will not listen to a bad audio. If you guys are familiar with the Teddy Riley versus Babyface competition that had over this weekend, that is a great example of what happens to bad audio. In case my people are not familiar, Teddy Riley and Babyface are producers and songwriters that created classic hits in the late 80s, early 90s, and they had a battle on Instagram Live. Babyface was a little bit more simple in his approach. He just had his speakers. The audio was great. Teddy Riley, because he wasn't really used to audio on the Instagram Live, he had his full set production, but the problem that happened was it caused an echo. So we had almost 500,000 people that was there, and all you saw was bad audio, bad audio, bad audio. And unfortunately, it caused us to, it caused them to cancel the first one. And then when the second one came, the audio was amazing. It was so amazing to the point where the Instagram couldn't hold between 500,000 and 1 million people. I think it broke their system in the back. So with good audio comes with listeners. Bad audio, people started going away. So again, audio is key. Editing is key. The purpose of editing is to make sure that the recording sounds smooth. It levels out volumes. Because sometimes, like me, I might project my voice. My guest may not. So when I edit it, I want to balance it out so the listeners cannot tell who was high and who was low. Minimize and eliminate background noise, and etc. How do you edit? Where do you edit? Again, audio editing, mandatory. Video editing, optional. If you're not using video, that's fine, but you have to edit your audio. Some free programs you can use is Audacity. It is free. Actually, a lot of podcasting people are using Audacity, and it's available on Mac and PCs. Adobe Audition and GarageBand, but GarageBand is only for Macs. Again, if you don't know how to audio record, Gone are those days where you have to go to school to learn, or gone are those days where you expect a job to teach you. Go on YouTube University. It is free, and you can find tutorials on how to edit. For video editing, great for beginners. So if you're not with the bedazzles and all that, you can start off simple. Remember, simple is key. Do not complicate the PODCESS. You can use iMovie, which is available for Macs only and is free. And you can use Shotcut, which is available for PCs as well and is also free. Final Cut Pro, again, available for Macs only, and Adobe Premiere Pro. Again, if you do not know how to use it, go on YouTube and learn. So after you record your podcast and you edit your podcast, now you have to upload the audio. You could upload it as an MP3, M4A, whatever the media file is. You could upload it into the podcast platform. Then once you upload it to the platform, so I upload it, it's to the platform. The podcast platform RSS feed will distribute it to the podcast listening platform. So once you upload it, the RSS feed will alert the other podcast that, hey, Freddie has a new episode. So then the podcast listening platforms would receive it and your listeners could listen to it. Your subscribers could listen to it. Part 3, promote and get paid for your podcast. If you're going to put in all this work, you might as well get paid. If you're doing it as a business. If you're doing it as a hobby, you don't really care about the income, this may not apply to you. But if one day you want to make it a business, at least you learn from me on how to get paid for your podcast. Again, I guess no text so far, so it seems like nobody is waiting. We are good to go. We got a full house. All right, let's get started. Promote and getting paid. How can you secure the bag with podcasting? Promoting your podcast. You can promote your podcast through visualizing your audio for social media, gaining subscribers, and monetization. Remember what I said. Podcast is audio, but if you want to upload it to your social media, you cannot just upload the audio only. You have to create a video for it to upload to the social medias. So your Facebook, your YouTubes, your Twitters, your Instagrams. So now, how can you visualize your audio? There is a thing called audiogram. Again, this is optional, but highly recommended if you're trying to expand your listeners. Because there are some people, as we saw in the stats, not everybody listens to podcasts. But those people might be on social media on your page, and they might hear a clip and be like, oh, okay, let me go check this out. They checked it out through an audiogram. So an audiogram, it combines visual art, a sound wave, and an audio track, and or transcription. Transcription is the words, like closed captioning. You can create full episodes or snippets to provide listeners with a preview of the full episode. You can upload them on your social media. Transcribing is available and is recommended. You have to think about, you don't have to do transcribing, but it's recommended because in case, let's just say, I'm somewhere where I can't listen to it, but I want to read what's going on. That helps that demographic. Also, for the demographic that has hearing issues, but they can read, you can access that audience. You try to be as inclusive as possible. So people could read it and they can share it if they can't listen to it at that moment, or for the people that's hard of hearing, they can read it. Also, it's good for translation. So if, let's just say you get to a point where another country wants to transcribe it in their language while it's in English, like subtitles, they could subtitle your podcast to a different language. That also increase your listeners. The way you can use audiogram, you could use the programs Wave, that is Wave with 2 A's, Headliner, and Audiogram. So now I'm going to show you an example of what an audiogram is. This is an old one, an oldie but goodie. I'm going to show you a quick example.
While we're on the note of students, I had one that interned with.
Hold on, let me make sure. Can you guys hear it? Let me check the chat. I just muted it. Where's the chat? All right, so you guys heard it? Cool. Oops, nope, go back. All right, so this specific audiogram is with my lifesaver mentor when I interned at a radio station in Orlando, Miss Monica May. She is the radio personality for Star 94.5 with Tom Joy in the Morning Show. She did it in the morning, and she took me underneath her wing to do this episode, and she provided me a CD. So this is back in 2010, way before audiograms. So I saved the CD, and I wanted to show people what I did back in the days, but again, I could not upload the file to social media. So I created an audiogram, and this was about actually 10 years ago. So I'm gonna play it if it lets me play. Let me be great.
Now, while we're on the note of students, I had one that interned with me. She just graduated from UCF, Fredlin Alcide, first generation from Haiti.
Shout out to my Haitians.
There. She went out with a microphone and she spoke with Attorney John Ellis. He's an alpha man, and he's the district director for Florida Federation, which encompasses Florida, Bahamas, and Virgin Islands. Here's their interview.
So for example, as you can see, as it's playing, it has the wave thing moving, and you can have a caption with the photo. So it has the visual art, it has the sound wave, and it has an audio track that just created a video. And you don't have to create a video the hard way. The wave and the headliner will do it for you. Once you select certain things, it'll put it together. It creates an MP4 file, and you can upload it to your social media. All right, now, how to get subscribers. You have to share it on your media platforms to get subscribers. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Again, just like what we mentioned, the audiograms. The audiograms allows people to get a snippet. So it gives them a preview of the episode to grab their attention. That's great for Instagram. It's good for Instagram because when you have a video that is a minute or less, you get to see the views. Numbers matter when you want to make money. So I would say always, if you can, give them a snippet, especially for Instagram or YouTube. If you want to upload snippets, like for example, when I talk about the Tiffany Haddish one, I would have a clip where I speak about Kevin Hart, then another clip that talks about Arsenio Hall, and another clip about the foster care, but I will still have the full episode as well. Because there's some people that won't listen to a 16-minute interview in its entirety, but they'll listen to a 5-minute. That's all views. So the audiogram allows you to do that if you're not able to secure a video interview, or that's just not your platform. You can create a snippet clip, or you can create a full episode. The one that I just showed you was actually a full episode. I just played a piece. Also, when you upload to your social media, hashtags. Hashtags are important because when you use the hashtag, and like I say, for example, I keep using Tiffany Haddish. I would put hashtag Tiffany Haddish, hashtag Kevin Hart, hashtag foster care. When people click on those hashtags and it goes to your page, they listen to that episode. Oh, I want to know more. They go to your link. Oh, I like this person. They will subscribe. So hashtags play a very important part as well. Other ways to get subscribers, being available on various podcasting listening platforms. Again, Apple, Google Play, Spotify. That's how you get subscribers because you can reach them where they're at. Word of mouth. It doesn't matter how much technology we have out there, word of mouth is the oldest and still the most productive way of getting subscribers because you're talking to people. You're letting them know about what you have. Share it on various social media groups. So your social groups in person or in social media groups. Also, you know you're promoting yourself so good when somebody introduces you and say, oh yeah, this is Freddie and she has her own podcast. Yeah, she interviews such and such. So when other people promote for you, that's another way, that's another word of mouth. And they promoted you without you promoting yourself. You could give more information about that. Also, signatures and emails that are related to podcasting. So your professional email that you probably use for like professional things, I probably wouldn't put this in there, but like for my email, thefocalspot@gmail, I'm going to have my link so people can subscribe. Also, on your social media bio, so if you have your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, Even LinkedIn, depending on how you tailor your LinkedIn, you could put your link on your bio. That's how you get subscribers, because you don't know who's going to be on your page at what time. You want it to be readily available for them to subscribe. Also, if you have guests on your show, you can do cross promotion from your guests. So other people for your podcast, like, hey, subscribe to Monica's website. So that's another way, cross promotion, kind of like what I talked about before when they introduce you. Walking billboard. Now, I know some of us like Gucci. I know some of us like name brand or even no brand. But guess what? When your brand is not out there, how would they know who you are? If anything that we learned from these clothing companies is you were their walking promotion for free, meaning they didn't pay you. You actually paid them to promote their product. So change that mindset and promote yourself. I need to get a shirt soon, but especially when this COVID's done, that's all I want to rock is my shirts whenever I can, whenever it's appropriate. Rock your shirts. Rock your brand. Rock your brand. So you will be your own walking billboard. We're your own brand, create your own product line and business cards. Also, to get subscribers, create an event or content or product to increase subscribers, because now it goes from listening to they have something physically tangible or mentally tangible. So that's going to increase your subscribers because it's more than just talking. Now I'm interacting with you. The key thing is interaction. Technology is good. You can reach certain people, but to retain people, you have to talk to people in person and keep them mentally engaged, either physical tangibles or mental tangibles. How to get subscribers. Now, here's the key thing, because a lot of people do ask, how do I get subscribers? I just mentioned how, but I want to hone in on something. If they like the content, they will listen. If they like you, they will subscribe. I'm going to say that again. If they like the content, they will listen. If they like you, they will subscribe. Again, podcasting is about the person or people that are making it. That's how you get subscribers. Listeners does not equal to subscribers, but it's good to have them. Let's see. Oh, great point. Sorry. They don't come. They will come. You don't have to spam people's inboxes. Yo, subscribe, because then they're going to spam you or ignore you. Don't spam everybody to subscribe. Promote yourself. Don't spam. So, hey, if I have, like, for example, on my Facebook, this is probably a great example. Sometimes I share the most funniest, randomest stuff, but I'm not always saying, hey, subscribe to my podcast, right? Whenever I upload my podcast, I'll have the link. So it creates a balance. Like, people already know that I have one. I don't need to keep beating in the head. Allow variety. Let's see. Now, let's talk money. How to get paid through podcasting. I want to reiterate this. Podcasting is like a diamond. It is a facet. When I'm talking about a facet, like a diamond, it has multiple things on it. Podcasting is a facet. I would not suggest quitting your day job for this, because the podcasting industry itself is not an industry where you can get rich, but it is one way you can make money. I'm going to say that again. Don't quit your day job for podcasting, but that doesn't mean you can't make income from podcasting. So I'm going to talk about the different ways you can make money from podcasting. So from the podcast itself, certain podcast hosting platforms, so like your Libsyns or Anchors or your Buzzsprout, they provide monetization options that has advertisers. That's one way. You can seek out advertisers yourself. This is yours. You do not need an FCC. This is yours. So if I'm doing a podcast about women's health, okay, I might reach out to women's products. I might reach out to drugs that focuses on women. So hit those advertisers to promote on your podcast. Again, with numbers that you show with the subscribing, you can say, hey, Thefocalspot produces X amount of views, X amount of subscribers, and this is how my podcast can help better promote your product. Also, create your own website. So if I have thefocalspot.com, you can create ads. Again, like many radio stations, they have like those ads. That's another way way to generate income. You could do the same thing. You create your own ads, you charge the people, and that's how you can make income. Another way you can make income is through YouTube. Now, I attended an awesome panel. I was actually part of a panel yesterday through Clark Atlanta. So shout outs to the Clark Atlanta MassCom. Professor B. Hightower really drilled the importance of this. And I was actually very lax with YouTube, but by talking to him and a few others, it reiterated the importance of YouTube. Again, YouTube, remember, podcasting is audio, but you can make it visual with the audiogram. If you want to make money, make your podcast into a visual so you can upload it to YouTube. Because with YouTube, you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers with at least 4,000 hours watch time. You must put out a lot of content consistently, at least 3 a day. I'm going to explain that later. 3 to 5 minute increment videos. YouTube puts advertisers in your videos. So let me break that down. 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours watch time. How many videos a day? Remember, if you pre-produce your episodes, you can, who does this so well? Vlad TV. If you guys heard of Vlad TV, he's a guy, he interviews so many different celebrities, and I call it he Vlads. So I call him he's Vlading. So what he'll do is, let's just say, again, I interviewed Tiffany Haddish, and I talk about Kevin Hart. I already have my clip edited. I'm going to trim it, upload it. That's one thing for the people that's interested in Kevin Hart. That's one video. Now we're going to talk about Arsenio Hall. It's from the same video. I clipped it, put an audiogram, uploaded it. We're going to talk about foster care system. Boom. I have that clip where she talks about being in a foster care system. So from my one video, I already created 3 of those clips that would help put out content consistently. And it's at least 3 to 5 minutes. Again, for your short attention span people. But guess what? That is still accumulating views. Views turn into money because that is a numeric data that shows YouTube. Oh, she has some interesting content. We got to pay her. She's promoting us. Let's pay her. So I'm even going to work on this because this is something I need to work on. So you have to put out content. This is what I said earlier. Sometimes you might have to take some time and repurpose your content to develop your YouTube and to remind people of what you do and also make some money. Also, selling products related to your brand. So for example, if I was, my podcast focused on women's health, if I was able to sell like menstruation cups or eco-friendly things like for the women's department in that, or I might sell women's t-shirts, cups, mugs, headphones, that's related to the brand. That's another way you can make money. You become your own e-commerce, your own store that promotes your brand. And also another way is with podcasting, people are respecting your voice. This is why I stressed before, it's good to research your content because you become an expert. A lot of people don't know about me. I actually have a special ed cert, okay? I have a special ed cert. So if I talk about special education and various things in education, I am an expert. Okay, well, Freddie, wow, you know, I heard your podcast. Let me join your panel. Again, going back to Clark Atlanta University, special shout outs to them, Professor Funderburk, she, you know, we networked and she was like, hey, join my panel because I was an expert in podcasting. You become an expert at it and you can get paid for it too. So podcasting by itself, you may not get your major bag, but if you do podcasting, social media, selling merchandise, and become a guest speaker, and not only just at panels, but possibly TV, if that's the route you want to go, or radio, that's how you can secure the bags. We're no longer securing the bag because one bag, you cannot have all your eggs in one basket. You have to secure multiple bags to create wealth, but that's a different story. All right. So far, so good. So far, so good. We are good. So far, Y'all like what's going on so far? I know I speak a lot. Just give y'all time a few seconds. We're good? Yes, yes, yes. And I promise once I'm done with this, I'm going to answer your questions. I just want to respect you guys' time as well. All right. So now, who am I? Who am I and how has podcasting impacted my life? So now I'm going to talk about my 11 years experience as a podcaster. Again, I started in 08, 09. So I have some skin in the game. So I'm willing to share to you all my experience. Okay. My 11-year podcasting journey, Thefocalspot. I think somebody tried to call. Just to make sure. Oh, somebody's trying to be let back in. Let me see. 1 second. Try now. Let's see. Somebody said to let them back in. Hopefully, if I see them, I will let them back in because it's right here. Okay. So now I'm going to take you guys all the way back. Okay. My love for radio happened during my young days. Some of you guys may know I'm originally from New York, hence the accent. So at the time, New York was the mecca of radio, like good hip hop, R&B. So just growing up listening to Hot 97 and WBLS, I used to love how people like Angie Martinez used to interact with the celebrities and they seemed like friends. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could be friends with celebrities. Oh my God, I wish I could talk to them on that level because you could ask them juicy questions that nobody else have access to. And then as a teenager, I moved to Florida and I got 2 radio internships, one at 102 Jams. It's no longer around and started 94.5. Again, I interned under the great Monica May. If you guys know her, just say what's up. She is a veteran of the game with so much knowledge, and I learned so much from her. Actually, she actually taught me how to edit. She's the one that introduced me to Adobe Audition and told me about Audacity. Little did she know that, Audacity is going to change my life for podcasting. So major, major shout outs to the great living legend, Monica May. Mwah. Love you. Also, so that's how my love of podcasting began. How did I find out about podcasting? So I was in the online natural hair group called Naturality. Nappy plus spirituality called Naturality. And a member suggested Blog Talk Radio as an online radio show. Cool. While I'm interning, I could develop my skills. Great. So I can show, I have a catalog ready. Like, all right, not only that I'm learning, I'm taking initiative to apply what you taught me in the internships and do it on my own. And it's a product. So I practiced it in 08 and officially launched January 3rd, 2009. At the time, I had thought-provoking topics to engage millennials. So around, the 80s, 90s babies at the time. And it was a great way to develop my skills while creating my own content. So some of you guys may be on here back in the days, used to be on my show. I appreciate you all for being there with me. So then I took some time off and I switched gears to focus on to interview celebrities because I wanted to reach more people. So with that, I was able to interview Tiffany Haddish, DJ Envy, DJ Khaled. And then I also expanded my topics to include mental and women's health. Remember, when it's your own podcast, you can talk about wherever, however it is on your terms. Now, with podcasting, it's not all peaches and cream. There's feelings that come behind it, and you're not going to be immune from it. Neither was I. It hasn't been an easy journey for me. This was so much about self-discovery. I experienced doubt, mess-ups, and inactivity. So when you're doing podcasting, this is you can say this is the entrepreneurial way of living your life. So there's certain things I did not learn in school about being an entrepreneur. So it was like, okay, yeah, I could do what I want. I could talk what I want, whatever I want to talk about. But how do I make money? How do I do this? How do I do that? You have to figure it out on your own. If you do have a radio background or a TV background, you are at an advantage. But still, I had to get out that mindset of somebody that had to tell me what to do. I had to tell myself what to do. So as I mentioned in the other slide, I was part of the old school podcasting method with Blog Talk Radio. So I would call in to create my episode, and people would be featured. They would call in and we get featured. This was live back in the day, okay? So when it was on and popping, it was ready. So all my mistakes, people heard live. It wasn't, you didn't pre-produce back in the days. It was just live. And of course, life got into a way where I wasn't consistent. However, podcasting would not leave me. It was one of those things like, I should get rid of podcasting, but my intuition said, no, Freddie. I didn't know why, but I guess, later on I'll figure it out. I would do a few interviews here and there through Google Voice because I stopped using Blog Talk Radio because at the time it was great. You had a lot of features that came with it, but as things progressed, they kind of did not progress, and I just felt like it wasn't the best fit for me. It was a good start, but it's time to evolve. Again, going back to Teddy Riley, when you don't evolve, things mess up. So what really reignited to do my podcasting again was the Spotify Sound Up Bootcamp. It reignited my love for podcasting. If you guys don't know what the Spotify Sound Up Bootcamp was, it was back in like 2018 where they was looking for women of color to teach them how to develop a podcast. So I think over like 18,000 people had applied, and they were surprised because they didn't realize that women of color listen to podcasts. And this is not to discriminate or anything, but at one point it was a white man's thing, which is cool, no worries, but that's just what it was. So when they realized, well, okay, I guess a lot more women of color do have podcasts, so they expanded since then. And that's what reignited my flames to start my podcasting again. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do my podcasting, but I'm going to treat it like a hobby. It's going to be my stress reliever. Like I said before, podcasting takes time. I love it, but sometimes I hate the time it takes, but I love the final product. So then I was working at a job, and it was just taking up too much of my personal time, and some other professional things happened. So I wasn't able to use podcasting as a stress reliever, and some other ways I use podcasting as a stress reliever. I just couldn't use it anymore. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm gone. So in a way, I kind of left my job for podcasting, but I wasn't like a starving artist. I did have a job afterwards. Like I said, you don't make millions off of podcasting alone. So that's how I figured. I'm like, okay, this podcasting is not going anywhere. I love it so much. It wants me to go somewhere. So I'm going to follow this journey along. So to further motivate myself and to stay updated with the latest, because podcasting done changed from when I started. So even when I took a break and came back, I was like, oh my goodness, this thing changed. It became more popular. So I joined support groups such as Podcasters of New Jersey. Shout outs to me, Hermana, Denise. I know she's on here. WOC Podcasters, which stands for Women of Color Podcasters. Because of the Spotify Bootcamp, where Women of Color Podcasters was born, and Podcasting While Black. Those are some of the groups that I joined. There's more out there, but I'm just showing you the ones that I'm a part of to keep me motivated. And all these are available. Podcasts of New Jersey, the Women of Color Podcasters, and Podcasting While Black is available on Facebook. So if you were interested, join those groups as well. Now, how has podcasting benefited me as a person? It allowed me to do what I love. So certain times when I was doing internships, whether it was a radio or BET, another fact, I did intern for BET. While I was acquiring the skills that they taught me, I was able to apply it at home and also be a better benefit to these internships with the skills that I developed myself, or not developed, but advanced from what I learned from the internships. So it allowed me to do what I love. It allowed me to develop my skills: editing, research, coordinate, marketing, produce. These are key words. If you're looking for a job, you already know how to do this because you did it yourself. Editing, research, coordinate, market, producing. Again, not easy. Researching, contacting people to do a topic, that's research, and coordinating, reaching out to people. All me. I was a one-woman show. Okay. I use it as a talking point when it comes to networking. Hey, my name is Freddie. I have my own podcast. So it allows me to be confident in my voice. Like, yes, this is what I do. Again, not every conversation, but when it's appropriate to talk about it. It allowed me to work various events. So because I have a podcast, right, I'm more interested in working event production management because they know my experience, they know my outlet. This further builds my skill in podcasting. So I've worked for the Revolt conference in Los Angeles and Atlanta, a lot of event production management in New York because they know this is what I like and they actually put me in the right realm. So I'm working speaker management because I have experience interviewing people and I know how to communicate with celebrities. Again, that stems from internships or whatever, but that product allows me to get my foot in the door. And I'm glad I didn't quit podcasting. I guess one of my reasons why I guess my intuition say to stay in is because I'm able to teach you all. If I would have quit, this would not have happened. So I'm able to teach you all, and I actually have an intern now. I have an intern, yay! So I'm able to teach her about podcasting, and especially during this time, my internship is actually virtual. And I'm glad this happened because during the COVID, now she's still able to get her credits and still get her skills because I'm virtual, because I did not give up. Sometimes doing your podcasting is not just for you, it's going to benefit others. Oh, but in Trust and Believe, I plan on taking it to the next level. It's time to level up. Now, I'm going to stop talking because this is very interesting. I'm going to stop talking and I am going to answer some questions. Let me see. All right, so I'm going to go back. There were some questions I had text. 1 second. Let me see. I had a text. 1 second. Go from the email. All right. How to record and edit. We talked about that. How to stream your podcast. Talked about that. The best equipment. Again, the best equipment, start off with what you have. You'll get better equipment later, but do not let that stop your PODCESS. Use with what you have, and then you will build from there. How to record from your phone and upload. Like I mentioned, if you have like some of those those podcast platforms has it where you can upload it from your phone, or you can use the voice memo app. And make sure I'm not missing anybody else. We spoke about making money, getting exposure. All right, that's the email questions. Now let me look at the chat. Thank you for the compliment. Looking gorgeous. Oh, look at all the love here. I appreciate it. Can you email the PowerPoint? I will send that. Yes, I will send this out later. I will send this out later in case you guys had to leave early or came in late. I will send this. Okay. What successful strategies of marketing have you used to promote my show? Like I said, people know Freddie, people know about the Thefocalspot. That's probably the best thing, but I've really gotten more hip with social media and using hashtags and just being unapologetic without spamming. Promote your brand. When you're promoting other people's videos, you're promoting them. Take that same energy and put it to yourself. Your voice is powerful. When reaching out to sponsors, do you use a deck along with your visual content? Do I use a deck? Hold on, Serena, I'm going to get to you shortly. 1 second. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute Serena if you're able to speak. 1 second. Where are you, Serena? Oh, right here. Unmute audio. Serena, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you all hear Serena? We look like yes, ma'am. Oh, that's that thumbs up. All right, so ask your question.
I wanted to know, along with your visual content, did you also use a sponsorship deck when trying to obtain sponsorship for your podcast platform? Or have you ever done that?
That's going to be my next level because I'm going to be transparent. When I talked about the doubt, I doubted that I could make money. I doubted that my voice was important. But I'm learning, and I'm going to take a chance. That's going to be my personal challenge. But I do plan on using a deck. I do plan on using the numbers. And anything that is numeric, use it for your data, like to show, okay, when I interviewed Tiffany Haddish, they had X amount of views on Instagram, whatever. You're just bringing numbers because eventually they're going to choose because they like you, but some of them want to see the numbers too. So numbers does help, but they have to like you too, and it has to be a good match. And and you don't have to have 1 million people to reach out to advertisers. If you know some people, okay, let me just reach out to them. Hey, I don't know if you're interested in joining, having ads on my show. This is my target range. Let's talk. They might be a small business. Okay, cool. $100 to $200. That's more than what you had before. So don't be scared to reach out to companies to possibly have them advertise on your podcast. And as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. So it's important to have a niche so you know who to go. If I'm doing women's health, I'm not going to go to men's health and ask them to promote. It just doesn't make sense. Mental health, I might reach out to counselors to promote. So it just really depends. So yes, have your numbers and have your visuals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Also, I want to add to that. If you guys have a podcast, and you have a personal page, especially for Instagram, if you are not a brand, separate your brand from your personal, because that will make it easier to separate the audio. Now, if you have some of your personal, like I do, and I promote my podcast, you can have that. But if you don't want certain people to look at your personal, you can always promote your business part of things. So if possible, separate if you are not your brand. If your podcast is not a part of you, separate it. So let me go to the next question. We will be done shortly. Sorry to go over a little bit on time. The next question was from, hopefully I'm saying your name right, Alicia Nunali. Let's see if I can find you. Alicia. Oh, I didn't put respect on your name. It's Alicia.
It's okay.
All right. So ask your question.
Yeah, so my question is, how do you find sponsors, or how are you able to find sponsors when your topic isn't as necessarily as niche as others are? So like mine is millennial, but like I talk about different things. Like I talk about travel, society, like career and stuff like that. So how would you say to go about finding sponsors that way?
I would say, well, millennials, you have to look at certain age groups, right? So you're not going to look at like certain businesses that's tailored. So millennials, what we like technology, right? Technology is big. Reach out to certain technological products people. Hey, this is my target group. This is what I'm doing. Let's make this work. Create a partnership. Traveling, guess what? There's paraphernalia that people use to travel. Travel socks, headphones. Like you can use, even though it's broad, break it down. Okay, if they're traveling, they might need certain products. They might need a bag. Okay, I see this bag that is multi-purposeful. A sweatsuit that's meant for traveling. So do your research on that. So break it down. So when you're saying traveling, people need to walk. People need to wear compression socks that prevents blood clots. You have millennials. More people are into natural stuff. Reach out to the natural people. So you see how in that age group, pay attention to that trend.
Yes.
What they like and break it down. Hopefully that's to everybody. So
yes, that does. Breaking it down, that does make sense.
Break it down. And that's how you're able to reach more people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me see. What's the best podcast platform in my experience? Oh, my bad. I took your Michelle. I should let you ask that. Hey, Michelle.
Hi.
Say your question because I said it for you, but your voice is important.
Oh, I was just wondering what was the best podcast platform that you think is the best, because like, or simpler to work on, you know, not so much complicated and, you know.
For me, for free, I use Anchor. For
Okay.
now, I use Anchor. There are some people that could do lip sync. Anchor is probably it's the only completely free one for now.
Okay.
Meaning that you don't have to pay to upgrade. But again, free has its costs, right?
Yes.
There's a cost of free.
Yeah.
So and then there's Libsyn, there's Blurberry, there's Buzzsprout. I don't know much about them specifically. I just went with completely free so I could figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
So do you have to pay for the platform to upload and then also for, what was it called, listening?
you do not have, it depends. Anchor, if you have your RSS feed, subscribe to Apple, Google Play, Spotify, it's free. It's going to do that on its own.
Okay.
I believe with Libsyn, it's free, but they only hold your episodes for X amount of days.
Okay.
So it depends on what if you're choosing the free plan with the other podcast platforms, you got to read their limitations.
Okay.
But once you register, you can register it to your Apple and all that. But check
What would you say is the startup cost?
I've seen average from about $20 a month, $15 a month, $30. It depends on how much you have and what you want to do. I start off with free.
Okay.
I'm team free. Remember, start with what you have. If you
Yes.
have 0,
Mm-hmm.
you can still start off with Anchor. What do I think of Anchor? I love it. It's free. I love free. Oh, wait, that was Sasha. Sasha, let's see. Sasha, I think that's you right here. Unmute. Sasha, is that you? Hello? Going once. Or is it you, Sasha? No? Ooh. Hey, Fred. I see you waving. Oh, it has a wave thing. Hey, Fred, fellow Fred.
Hello. I have a question.
Ooh. Say it again.
I have a question.
What's your question?
What do you find, like, what are the common threads that successful podcast shows have? Like, what are the top 2 or 3 aspects that you find that successful podcast shows have?
Very good question. They have personality, consistency, and
Mhm.
structure.
Gotcha.
Personality. It's not a time to be a robot. It's not the old school. Hi, my name is Fredolyn Alcide, and I'm here today at the ABC News. It's not personality. They are on your show for a reason. Personality, consistency, and quality. Like, you might not have you can have the most expensive equipment in the world. You might pay so much money for a podcast platform. If it's trash, it's trash. So quality, consistency, and personality are the ways for your podcast to grow. And it's unique. It's you. Enigma, where are you? Let's see. Can you, let's see. Think, are you on here? I don't think you are. So I'll ask the question. She asked, they asked, do you touch bases about using music on your podcast and copyrights? I would suggest you not to use music if you don't have the rights to it. I would suggest you not to. I used to back in the days. When I edited my podcast, I don't have it anymore. I no longer use music. If you can, stray away. You could use like background music, but like an artist produced stuff, if that's not the artist you're interviewing and they grant permission, stay away from music that are copyrighted. All right. I'm currently using Buzzsprout, but I'm thinking about moving to Anchor to monetize and have a year's worth of content. Repurpose your content. You don't have to start from the beginning. Repurpose. Thank you so much for doing this. What is the, oh, okay. Omari, I'll let you ask that question. Omari?
Yes, hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
I was in the panel for my school, CAU, yesterday, and you mentioned to use LinkedIn and things like that. But LinkedIn doesn't always have everything. So like, what would be some other ways of getting internships and finding good ways to apply to them?
Okay, I'm going to put somebody on the line. Ms. Monica, can you answer that question? Hold on one second. I'm going to unmute you. Again, this is the legendary Monica May from Star 94.5 in Orlando. May you please answer this question?
And I typed in my daughter's name. I don't know why I did that. But Omari, I read your question and I was hoping you'd give me a chance to do it. Things have changed a whole lot, but still not enough. You can still walk into your favorite hosting place. Say you want a radio station, TV station. If you have a resume, even if you don't have a jacket, I just say go in there. Hi, Freddie and I know about this. Just sit down with someone, but call the front desk first to get the roster. Who's in charge of your interns there? And address that person directly. So when I was at Star, because I'm not there anymore, when I was at Star, I would have been the person for that, at least for Star. So the front desk knows that. So you then address everything to me. You send me a resume. You also would get my phone number and call. Don't ever feel like you're bugging somebody. You don't want to spam them, but just show your interest by your interaction with them. People are still out there interning. Wherever you can imagine wanting to work, connect with those people. Connect with them, because we want to teach you. We really do.
You heard the golden gems from the legend?
Yes.
Ari? And then on top of that, now especially at this time, ain't nobody going anywhere. I mean, excuse my not proper English. Everybody's at home. So reach out to those people. Hey, let me see who's at this station. Okay, Bob Barker.
They're
Okay.
still reading email.
Yep, they're
still reading email, Omari, and you could be the next one in line. And you know what? Mickey reminded me that she interned with the station about 10 years ago, you said, Mickey? So.
Yes, so we're, again, like what she said, although with technology, you can digitally communicate with people because that's where we are right now. Go up to them. Like, they like seeing people. They could study who you are. And sometimes they may not read your email. Oh, wait. We got kicked out. Oh. So that's how you can do it. Now, let me see. I think we're good for questions. Let me just share my screen one more time. So now, last but not least, again, I encourage you all to use the hashtag #TheFocalSpot or tag me at #TheFocalSpot on all your social media platforms if you found anything that resonated with you. I will be sending out surveys because this is my first class and I would love to go from good to great. The surveys will be sent out no later than Friday. If you still need help developing and producing your podcast, email me, we can talk. Again, you can use the hashtag #TheFocalSpot at #TheFocalSpot, link, and then go on Linktree. Linktree, www.linktr.ee/thefocalspot. If you guys have to leave, that is fine, but I'm willing to stay a few more if you guys just want to chat. I'm going to, and thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you so very much. I've never done this before as far as like on the Zoom thing. So now this is a experience for me. So I thank you all for listening. I wish you well in your podcast journey. Keep me posted, tag me, and we'll go from here. So I'm going to stop this. All right. And I'm still here for about a few more minutes. If you guys have to leave, that's no worries. So I'll let you guys leave. If you guys still want to talk, that's no worries. So I'll give a few more minutes. Thank you. Thank you all. You're very welcome. I'm glad you guys learned. I appreciate it. Oh, Fred. Yes, sir.
One more thing. Listen, Freddie, thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, it's always good speaking to you, and I will definitely be in touch with you because I have an idea, and you are definitely the main person who I definitely want to learn from.
Thank you, fellow Fred. I appreciate it.
You got it. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You got it.
All right. Let me see if I can unmute all. Let me see. So if you need a few more minutes, we can talk. I am still here. Thank you guys. Shout out to my niece,
question.
Mia. Say it again.
I did have one question.
Talk to me.
I didn't hear the answer. I don't know if I was just like not paying attention.
For the Android?
But about the Android, yeah.
There is a voice memo app I think you can download. My phone would be dead. I have an Android too. You can download, or you can use the podcasting platform. I know Anchor, you can record from the platform on your phone.
Okay.
Shout outs to my nieces. I see Leah. I hear my Mia Bella. And all you guys, some of you guys I've seen the names. You guys been around with me from the beginning. Again, the legendary Monica May, Jackie, Michelle, you guys have been there from the beginning. I'm just trying to take this to the next level. Someone asked about music and copyrights. I'm curious about legally using them on podcasts. Again, I am best practice. If you don't have to use music that you did not make, I would not upload to not touch in that situation. If it's like background music as an intro, I would use it. I would have to do more research in that. But from what I saw, if you could avoid using copyrighted music that you don't have permission in using, I would stay away. That's probably best practice. Again, a long time ago, I used to put music all the time. I cut those out. I'm not going to get in trouble. Let's see. Anybody else? You're welcome. Expert.
I just wanted to say hello and how are you doing with everything?
Honestly, Michelle, I'm doing good. I mean, this is what's keeping me mentally afloat during this time. Again, this is not going anywhere, right? People are getting sick around me, and hopefully this is a light for everybody during this time. So my gift, I want to be able to share with people. I mean, I'm going through my own personal grief. I did lose somebody, so this is what's keeping me afloat. And this person actually wanted me to take it to the next level. So it was like her inspiration and just keep me going. Like, it felt so good when all you guys signed up, like that was amazing. So, and plus my podcast, it keeps me going because, again, I don't want to be like Teddy Riley, stuck with what you know. So by doing this class, I learned something new. When I teach you, I learned something new. So honestly, it's mentally keeping me afloat.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's okay. Thank you. It's not easy because I was actually there when it happened. So it's just, I'm getting through it. And this platform that I'm going to use to express myself. And I want to educate other people of color to express themselves because we deserve to get a piece of that bag.
Well, when you decide to do this again, just let me know. I would like to share the link on I have a group called Orlando Women's Empowerment on Meetup. I don't know if you've heard of Meetup, but maybe you can find that also in your area. It's based on whatever you're into in terms of lifestyle, topics. If you want to try something new, hobbies. I did a vision board workshop on that platform, and you can host events. But now that people are not meeting up personally, they might like this as a virtual thing. Oh
yeah, this is going to be the way to go now that I think a lot of people are going to use this to save money. So instead of flying people out, having a whole event space, they're going to use something like this and get more people. So hey, I was able to reach people from various states. No worries.
Okay, and do you have like a limit on how many people you're allowed to have on your
It seems like we're here is 100, but for some reason I got texts that it kicked people out. I'm not too sure what happened, but for what I paid for 100. So
okay.
It's of 100.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? I still have to come. Yes. Yeah.
I love you, and I wrote on there, it's amazing to have the student teach the teacher. This is just so amazing.
Thank you. I mean, this is all you. You taught me a lot of the things, and now I'm just teaching others. I pay homage. Like, again, Monica May, was there. She made sure I perfected the craft because by perfecting my craft, it helped her. I was able to help her with the stuff. And then look, I'm able to, it's a full cycle. So
It is. It really is. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Hopefully I represented you well.
You did. Yes. Yes. From day one. So I appreciate that. And that's what I mean about the power of interning, because it's an indelible mark that's left on not only that student, but the person who was offering that internship. And you did very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just keep us in mind when you do this again, and keep it open so we can ask some questions.
Oh, keep the what open?
Further questions. No, just your line open so we can ask further questions if they come up.
Say no more. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying my Black self home. So I ain't going anywhere. Y'all can ask the questions. So yes, like I said, I'm still here for a few more minutes. I'm not going anywhere. So if y'all want to chill, we could. But if not, you guys can leave. Again, please, hashtag, tag me. You can email me. I'll send you guys an email with the survey. And I want to take this from good to great. And I want to help you guys go from good to great.
I have a question.
Wait, Shartina, yes, and then Nikki.
I know you focus on podcasting, but do you know anything about like more in depth? I'm going to say about video. I guess you said a little bit about it, like doing video, because that's like what I'm interested in, creating a channel on YouTube, but like a video based, but pre-recorded.
All right, so with the video, let me share the screen real quick so I can touch bases on certain things that would be beneficial for you. 1 second, let me go to that. So for visual, there's certain things that are similar. So let me pull up that slide. Hold on one. All right, so let me see. Can you guys still see the screen? Hold on. Why I can't hear you? Oh, I didn't share the screen. Okay. Can you guys see the screen here?
Yes, I can see.
Perfect. So certain things for you, for example, if you just want to do strictly visual, again, now you can't really do in person, but you can still use Zoom and Skype to record. Like I'm doing Zoom right now and it's recording, and you can use that to promote on the social medias, the Facebook, the Instagrams, the YouTubes. You may not necessarily need to extract the audio, you just could promote it there. So that's one way. Zoom and Skype, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Live are probably going to be your key things at this moment to do video. Producing video interviews or visual content. Does that make sense? Going once, hold on, chat, no. Okay, hold on, no, yes. All right, so to give more detail, so for example, Zoom has more of a dual platform or multi. Who's doing it now? If you look at the Breakfast Club, they're conducting their interviews now through video. A lot of them are using Zoom or another video platform to record interviews. So it kind of toggles from speaker to speaker, and you can upload it, because once you finish with the interview, it downloads as a video file and you can upload it. And if you have more questions, I can hit you more about that. So it won't be considered a podcast, it's just visual content.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and also you can always hit me up in my inbox. We could talk more about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let me see. Let me stop sharing. Beautiful faces. Any more questions? We're good. Oh, Mickey, you had a question. I'm sorry, my love. Oh, I'm mute.
Oh, hi. Oh, yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good, good. How are you? Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. My question is with podcasts, because I know it's not as, or I don't want to say it's as
lucrative.
Not lucrative, but as it's different from the traditional radio. Like, so when you're getting guests, do you find that you have any reluctance from people to interview with you? Because I know sometimes when people, like I interview people at school and people always ask, well, hey, is this paid? You know, so do you find that you have a challenge of getting speakers, or people just want to get a platform? How do you deal with that?
People want to get a platform. I haven't asked. Nobody asked me if it's paid. I think it's more so paid if you have to schedule it in person and got to go to a location, but online, especially now, I think people are understanding the power of promotion and cross promotion. So like, for example, let's just say I want to interview DMC from Run DMC, right? He is a legend on his own, but there's a generation or two that don't know about him. I'm connected to that generation. He has a product I'm going to reintroduce. So it's a lot of times I don't have issues is because I'm reintroducing them to a new market. Again, for me, I can say I interviewed Tiffany Haddish, DJ Khaled, DJ Envy, right? Okay. Now there are times I do pay. And what I mean by that is if I'm at an event that I paid for and I can get them for like a few minutes. That's how I had DJ Envy. That's how I had Envy, Khaled, and Naughty by Nature. I paid for the event. They had a Q&A. I had somebody record me. And then I uploaded it to my platform. So there were times I did pay, but I didn't pay them. They still got paid because I paid for the ticket. But I haven't had to pay anybody to be on an interview yet. But that might be a little different to go to the school, though. But on a podcast platform, when it's just on your phone, when I did Barry Michael Cox, now granted, he could have asked for some money. He's a Grammy Award-winning producer. It's a lot of times people like talking and just reaching out to different people, talking about different things. So for now, I haven't had to pay.
Okay.
In my 11 years, I haven't had to pay yet.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else before I go? I see my niece Leah, Shantina. Hey, Ty. Hopefully this helped you, Ty, 'cause I know we were speaking last year. I see my beautiful Jessica with 2 C's, Sasha, the 248 number, I'm not too sure. Crystal Johnson, Michelle. All right, you guys are tired. I done took up more of your time. Hit me up. You can text me, email me, call me if you have my information. I'm willing to help you all. Stay blessed. Respect your voice. Your voice is important. Mwah. Yes. Take care. I love you all. I appreciate this, okay?
Love you back.
Yes, and I will send this video. So if you missed anything, I will send this. All right, take care.